Right. Well, continuing our epic coverage of Disney. Oh, sorry, I mean Disney. Um, let's just quickly take a look at this. Disney US theme parks see post-COVID bounce falter as growth slows and profits dips. That sounds like a loss, doesn't it? If growth slows and profit dips, profit dipping. It's not.
Yeah, this
Doesn't
is the
sound particularly great, does it, from a company that is, you know, this is the predominant earner for them as a whole. This
yeah,
was what was keeping them afloat.
this is the kindest way to say theme parks suck now too.
They mention the rides constantly breaking down there and people
Oh man,
showing up and not being able to ride what they want to ride.
So what Disney World saw operating income dip in June. Domestic parks and experiences saw profits fall 13% to 1.4 billion. That's quite a big drop off. A fall of 13% that's quite big.
I mean, if you look at the headline and then you read that, those two things make sense.
Yeah, well, they're like Disneyland profit was up modestly. The company said in the latest earnings.
You know why? They were closed the bulk of last year. Quarter over quarter.
This is true. Yeah.
They had lower attendance. They artificially created attendance when they were. It's just like I'm like going, wait a minute, is modestly up? That's because you let more people come in. I mean,
they're like, check their excuses out. The company cited they cited their own higher costs due to inflation and the planned closure of Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, as well as a dip in attendance at Walt Disney World. At Disneyland, higher attendance. What? This doesn't make any sense. So Disneyland profit was up, but the reason is because higher costs due to inflation.
Meaning they didn't have as many people per se.
And because we closed Galactic Star Cruiser. That's why
Galactic Star Cruiser is at Walt Disney World. I think that first sentence is aligned to Florida, and I think the second sentence is aligned to California,
as well as the different attendance at Walt Disney World.
Yeah,
at Disneyland,
higher attendance because they let more people in. No shit, and guest spending.
Yeah, that's like if
you let more people in.
You just open a restaurant and be like, "Yeah, we've had a record year of sales this year." It's like you only been open 1 year, dumb shit.
Exactly. Like I said, you read those sentences after reading the headline, you're like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, that again, we wonder why they're caught in China a lot and stuff like that. But international parks took up some of the slack. So Shanghai, Hong Kong.
Again, you know why?
But that's what,
because they let people back in.
But what I mean is, I think this goes some way to explain why Disney is so happy to appease China so much.
Maybe.
Right? If you're looking at it from this perspective, their biggest earner is, of course, their parks. Generally speaking, that is actually what keeps their company afloat. Certainly not their studio. And, what better way to if you're losing side on your home turf is to try and pick up that slack elsewhere, which is what they have done. Shanghai and Hong Kong. So now the form has been open for the entire 3 months versus only 3 days in the previous year course. I'm glad they actually bloody said that. Dear, oh dear. But they don't list anything. So what are you guys on about with the rides and the lines and stuff? Give everyone a bit of backstory on that, because he said that they're not doing very well.
Okay, so what I've noticed, and again, just obviously because of people in our sphere, and also because I just had some people I know, just there. I mean, literally just flew home today, telling me that for the majority of the day, the major, what do you call them, headliner attractions, right? A lot of the D&E ticket stuff, especially at Magic Kingdom, were closed from the time the park opened until they were significant. They'd been open for a while. Like the Haunted Mansion, I guess, was like down for an entire day on a refurb that was unannounced. They were down. They were down at park open 1 day for an hour and a half, 2 hours before. I mean, again, you're talking about attractions that they're in high demand. People are going to want to be on. It's the same thing that they're doing. They used to do something called phased openings of attractions. This is the return to that, where they're trying to do cost savings on staffing and everything else and making it more difficult on patrons. Then, as Nick mentioned, you have attractions breaking down all the time. Like Nick's favorite attraction, Rise of the Resistance, which is
my
Star
favorite.
Wars attraction. Yeah. Yeah. You want to tell everybody what happens there?
It constantly breaks. People will literally be on the so when you go to the park and you are wanting to ride a ride, you're put in a queue, and so they'll let you know when it's your time to go get in line to actually ride the ride. So people will go to the park, get in the queue if they can even get in the queue in the first place, and then right before it's their time, they'll get an alert on their phone. Sorry, ride shut down for maintenance. And you hear these stories all the time about people going to Disney to experience all this stuff, and they'll be like, we were here for 1 or 2 whole days. I didn't get to ride this. I didn't get to ride that. This wasn't working. That wasn't working. So even though and that might, be part of the reason why the crowds are a lot less. Maybe people are getting tired of going there and not being able to ride the stuff that they want. It's also very expensive to eat there, to buy stuff in there. Everything is extremely overpriced. But yeah, the ride thing that's a constant issue for people that go.
Yeah, I mean, Disney, theme parks aren't really that good without the themed park element of it all. To be fair,
No,
let's break it down. That's not.
I'd
good,
much rather go to Six Flags.
And that virtual queue, exactly. And that virtual queue that Nick's talking about, I mean, it'll reset you in a position later in the day and say, okay, we'll check back later. We'll let you know when when an update. So you'll go back looking at the virtual queue. Fortunately, if you keep your phone on all day.
So let me get this straight. So you go to the theme park.
Yeah.
You take a virtual place in a line to then get told your time is come to then queue up in a physical line.
Yeah.
To then go on a ride.
Yeah, to go ride the ride.
So there's 2 waits.
It honestly makes absolutely no fucking sense to me either, Nate.
Well, a lot
of wait in line to wait in line.
Yeah.
It's like a trailer for a trailer. I don't understand. It's the dumbest shit in the world.
So the whole reason that they started doing this is because they were trying to cut down on long lines. So you didn't have to go wait 3 or 4 hours to ride a ride. You could go do other stuff. And then when it was your time to go, but that whole thing kind of ended up backfiring, especially with rides constantly breaking down. Because, you got all these people in this queue in the whole park, and either they end up getting booted and pushed out even longer, or the ride breaks down. It's always seems to be some sort of issue. My sister was there earlier this year, like spring, I think, and she was talking about it, how it was a complete disaster over there.
It's really troubling. Again, I've been through that same experience, but seriously, the virtual queue is supposed to make the physical queue shorter.
Yes.
So you're not standing in the sun, because they really poorly designed Florida badly. So the Florida queue badly. You're in the sun all the day. But regardless, it's supposed to do that and allow you to go experience other attractions and so on and so forth. But regardless, the attraction it's for, it goes down all the time. And to be fair, it's the most complicated theme park attraction ever built, because it's basically 3 rides in one.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a very unique attraction. But
safely say I've never been to Disney, so
me neither.
Neither have I.
I'm good. I'm very, very good.
Yeah.